Isolation day 52, Saturday the 9th of May. I hope everyone's well and you're looking after yourselves. It's been another beautiful day here in the UK. My blood sugars have been as challenging as they have been for the last 3 or 4 days. I think I'm still suffering a little bit with this sinus issue, although I'm now recording this on 9 o'clock on Sunday night. My blood sugars have been a bit better. So I will give you a further update about that tomorrow. Let's just take a look at my blood sugars and then we'll get on to stuff that is a lot more interesting. This is the Medtronic overview, 24-hour sensor duration, only took my blood 6 times actually, and suspend duration 4 hours 26. This is an overview of the sensor for the day. So high, low, fair to middling, low, really high, low. You can see my bloods were not in a good way for the entire day. And when you've got an infection, I think that to a certain extent is to be expected. The frustrating part here is I went running. I took some carbs and my blood went to 6.7. I then decided to go running and it carried on up to 10.1, and then you can see it dropped right the way back down to 3.9 after going for a run. It was just a few kilometers. So yes, frustrating, to be expected, yes. But you know what? Let's just leave it there. I'm not going to look in any more detail at the blood sugar for that day because it isn't representative of what my bloods generally do. I'm just trying to manage the fact that I am and probably still am a little bit unwell. So I had a temp basal on. I was taking double correction doses, which to a certain extent could explain why it kept on going low at times. But look, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Let's move on. So Sunday the 10th of May is the beginning of the process of transition. So where I have at present been reading the Mastering Diabetes book, and I'm happy with the information they put in there. They've got loads of information. It's a real good book. It's well worth a read if you're diabetic. And even if you're not diabetic, actually, it's really still worth a read. What I'm looking to do is show you tomorrow the start of the do-it-yourself program that I subscribed to some time ago in anticipation of being able to start this transition quite a while ago. But obviously I wasn't able to do that because my basal rates and my control was reliant upon my pump and my CGM and not reliant upon me. I think I'm in a better place now, apart from the fact that I've been struggling this week with my blood sugars because of the fact I feel I'm a bit under the weather. That being said, I'm not going to delay it anymore. I want to push forward with this. So if you look below, I've added a link to some notes that I've been taking from the book. And the reason I've been writing some notes out is just to give myself an overview of what I need to do at the beginning of this process. And it is a stepped approach. What they look to do is transition you for breakfast, and then you move on to lunch, and then you move on to evening meal. But whilst you're doing that, as I mentioned the other day, you have to reduce your fat intake. And to do so, I've been using Chronometer, which is something that they advise, and also I've heard of it before. It is a very good app. I've now paid for subscribed to the gold membership on here, which means it gives me a bit more information. It's a bit clearer for me to show you guys and for me to also track it, and I can split foods into uncategorized, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, etc. And what I have also done is adjusted my settings to now be, instead of being the ketogenic calculator, I've adjusted it as per the advice on the Mastering Diabetes book, which is a person my size, my weight, my height should be consuming between 2,400 and 2,500 calories per day. The advice is that I am 3 kilos overweight, which is interesting because I'm not entirely sure I am. But look, what I'm going to do is follow the advice. So I've taken off 100 calories per day to lose 0.25 of a kilo a week. It's nothing really. So other than that, the split should be protein 25 grams, carbs 70 grams, fat 25 grams. And they are very clear on the fat consumption. And what they say is your fat consumption shouldn't be more than 15% of your total calories in the day. But it should also not be more than 25 to 30 grams as a standalone. There are also some other rules, which are no individual meal should have more than 10 grams of fat in it. Which, again, like I say, is quite interesting, because now let's look at what I've been doing. So if we look at, let's look at evening meal tonight. Well, my evening meal was 14.3 grams of fat as a standalone. My lunch was 37.4 grams of fat. The vast majority of that was cheese, and I had 3 sticks of cheese. Not a lot. The clever thing about this is if we click on my evening meal, which was, you know, chicken thighs, passata, I had some rice protein. This is the closest I could find to it. I need to put the information in, but it's there or thereabouts. Some chili powder. If you look here, protein is 67%. So again, very high on the protein. Not that that's a massive issue, but fat's 26% of your daily target, 26% of the meal was fat, whereas, as I said before, it shouldn't be more than 10 grams. It's 14.3 grams, and it definitely shouldn't be more than 15% of what you're eating. So that's a problem, you know. Actually, as you would possibly tell, because of being on a keto, the carbs is 7%. This is the nutritional target for that meal. Now, if I click up here, this is everything. You can see 54.2 grams of carbs, double the amount that I've allocated for the day, but also bear in mind that it's 43% of all of the calories that were consumed in one day. Let's look at some of the previous days. So on the 8th, fat is 31%. On the 7th, fat is 65%. This is where we're going to see some stark differences between being on the low-fat, plant-based whole food approach than the keto approach. It's very clear that the keto approach is obviously fat-based, but what I would say is I don't think I'm consuming huge amounts of fat. Almost everything with fat in it is laden with fat. There's tons of it, so it really adds up. Okay, let me give you an example. If we go to here and we add in for breakfast, let's say for breakfast I add in olive oil. I'm going to have 1 tablespoon, 13 grams of olive oil, add that in. You can see calories, that's 119. Well, my daily total is 2,600. So 119 just for that. And it's 100% fat. 13.5 grams of fat for 1 tablespoon of olive oil. As a comparison, let's add in lettuce. And let's go 3 servings, 3 cups of chopped lettuce. And you can see, look, calories 24 compared to olive oil, 1 tablespoon of olive oil to 3 cups of lettuce. You know, almost a fifth. The lettuce is a fifth of the calories of the olive oil. Now let's look at trends. And I want to look at the 3rd of May to the 9th of May, last 7 days. You can see that overall, fats make up 49% of what I'm eating. 287% on average per day, 287% more than the 25 grams that I should be. Carbs are 14%. Yeah, okay, makes sense on a keto diet. Protein is only 30. So the vast majority of what I'm eating, because I'm on the ketogenic diet, is fats. That's going to completely flip and change. Protein may still be quite high. Carbs are going to obviously go up. Fat is going to go down. So the link below will show you a 1-page overview of a few notes that I've been taking, just as an initial kind of look at the information that's in the book that directly relates to the start of the transition, and just a few things that I thought were really interesting to make a note of and to keep to hand, rather than highlighting the book, which I have done as well. But look, we'll leave it there today. I hope you're all well. I will catch up with you tomorrow.